Hello, Jyoti. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Jyoti is here. Yeah.
Hello, Jyoti, Sumita. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome to Shubha Vilas ji.
Hello.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Very happy to connect. Very happy to be with all of you.
We're all eagerly waiting
Yes.
for your gems of wisdom.
Principal sir is here, Madhuri.
Yes, good afternoon.
Acha, sir has joined.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, our speaker, Mr. Shubha Vilas ji, has also joined us.
Namaskar.
So, I think
शुभा विलास जी को
For the
बहुत बहुत
students to join the YouTube link, since we are.
sir is here. Sir, आपका थोड़ा वीडियो क्लियर नहीं है.
ये जो है ना, इससे क्योंकि मैं कहीं बाहर हूँ, तो इससे मेरा इससे मोबाइल से मैंने कनेक्ट किया, तो इसमें इसी टाइप का ऐसा ही पिक्चर आता है. कोई बात
कैमरा ओके, ऑल राइट, फाइन सर, इट्स ऑल राइट.
No issues. No problem.
लेकिन मैं आप सबको बहुत ठीक से देख सकता हूँ. आप सभी को 73rd रिपब्लिक डे की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं सबको.
आपको भी सर.
आपको भी good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I think हमें very happy Republic Day सबको 73rd Republic Day की शुभकामनाएं. I think we can begin, sir. Shall we begin now?
Yes. हाँ बिल्कुल.
Yeah,
Priyanka?
Yes, ma'am, sure. विक्लवो वीर्यहीनो य स दैवमनु वर्तते वीरा संभावितात्मानो न दैवम पर्युपासते. It means only the timid and the weak leave things to destiny, devam, but the strong and the self-confident seldom bank upon destiny or luck, bhagya. A very good afternoon to everyone present here. I hope you all are keeping safe. I, Priyanka, on behalf of NSS Dayal Singh Evening College, welcome you all to a much-awaited talk session by Shri Shubha Vilas on the theme Leadership Lessons from Ramayana on the occasion of the 73rd Republic Day to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. As we all know that on this day, Dr. Rajendra Prasad began his first term of office as President of the Indian Union. The Constituent Assembly became the Parliament of India under the transitional provisions of the new Constitution. Our India got its first leader on this day. So, today we are here to learn and revisit leadership lessons from the Ramayana. Ramayana is one of the two major Sanskrit epics of ancient India and important texts of Hinduism, the other being the Mahabharata. The epic, traditionally ascribed to the Maharshi Valmiki, narrates the life of Lord Ram, the legendary prince of Ayodhya. The Ramayana is one of the largest ancient epics of the world and continues to live in manifold forms amongst various cultures of the world. The Ramayana teaches us that not only is it possible but also necessary to ensure victory over evil forces. It teaches us important life lessons. Our guest speaker today will be enlightening us on the leadership lessons to be garnered from Ramayana. I welcome our esteemed guest of today's event, Shri Shubha Vilas, our respected Principal Sir, Professor Pawan Kumar Sharma, our Program Officer, Dr. Madhuri Chavla, our teacher coordinators, Dr. Brati Viswas, Dr. Vivek Gaur, Ms. Jyoti Arora, Ms. Sumadhura Roy, and the audience. Now, I invite Khushi, President of NSS DSEC, to give us a brief about the work of NSS.
The highest of distinctions is service to others. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Khushi, on behalf of NSS Dayal Singh Evening College, welcome you all for celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. National Service Scheme was launched on 24th September 1969 by Dr. V.K. Avi Rao. It is an Indian government-sponsored flagship program for public service conducted by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports of the Government of India. Each university has its university-level NSS cells. We are glad to have this society in our college too. NSS Society organizes different programs for social welfare and awareness. NSS is more like a platform that benefits an individual to enhance their overall personality through community skills. By focusing on ground reality problems and to develop a sense of social and civic responsibility is what we thrive for as a community. It further enables us to identify the needs of the community and devise creative ways to deal with issues and bring about solutions. Moving ahead to the events, our NSS unit has been successfully organizing several online and offline events in the past. During the COVID era, we have been organizing several activities like Vivid COVID webinar, vaccination campaign, and a COVID awareness week. The noteworthy online events included Women's Day webinar, World Mental Health Day webinar, poetry recitation on Shahid Divas and Independence Day, quiz competition on Consumer Rights Day and Independence Day, drawing competition, and doodle making competition. We, as a team, had also organized some offline events by adhering to the full safety measures. Diwali cloth collection and distribution drive, Freedom Run, Blood Donation Camp were other events organized by our community. That being said, I would like to conclude here. We can't help everyone, but we can sure serve everyone. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, is the mantra for us and should be for each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Khushi. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Madhuri Chawla to address the audience. I request everyone who is present here to keep their audios on mute.
Thank you, Priyanka. Very good afternoon. Our speaker for the day, eminent scholar Shri Shubha Vilas ji, our principal, Professor Pawan Kumar Sharma, all the colleagues who have joined us, and dear students. At the very outset, I wish you all a very happy Republic Day and a very healthy and vibrant India. Healthy and vibrant physically, mentally, financially, socially, as well as politically. A salute of 21 guns and the unfurling of the tricolour by Dr. Rajendra Prasad heralded the historic birth of the Indian Republic on January 26, 1950. And India declared itself a sovereign, democratic and republic state with the adoption of the Constitution. As the nation celebrates its 73rd Republic Day today, I would like to reiterate what Dr. Ambedkar said. The youth of today needs to understand the immense value of the freedom that we enjoy, and at the same time, shoulder their responsibility towards the nation with wisdom. The Constitution provides us a framework as to how our culture and our ancient scriptures offer us significant lessons in values and ethics, lessons which can take us a long way in strengthening our commitment to the cause that our Constitution hails. Today, we must aspire to strengthen the unity of our nation by promoting an inclusive mindset, by pledging to take part in nation building in our own unique ways, by upholding our rich traditions and also the culture of the country. And as the country celebrates the year 2022 as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative by the Government of India to celebrate and commemorate 75 years of progressive India and the glorious history of its people, culture, and achievements, It is pertinent and apt that we draw learning from our scriptures and see how aptly they apply in the current context, focusing on the messages they impart to us. Today's talk is another small step taken by NSS Dayal Singh Evening College in this direction, as it partakes of the vision and aims of the Mahotsav through a series of events. By delving deeper into the qualities of Lord Ram as a leader, economist, ruler, arbiter, and a true friend, we intend to reflect and comprehend how an ideal leader tries various ways like reconciliation, mediation, negotiation, and arbitration to resolve conflicts. To this session, NSS Dayal Singh Evening College wishes to broaden our horizons about leadership and ethics imbibed in the Ramayana, which resonate with the contemporary times. These and more would be our takeaways from this session. And on behalf of the entire NSS unit, Dayal Singh Evening College, I welcome you all to what promises to be an extremely enriching talk session titled Leadership Lessons from Ramayana. And we are extremely honored to have an eminent scholar and internationally acclaimed author and speaker, Shri Shubha Vilas ji, amongst us to take us through this journey. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to request and invite Principal Sir to kindly address the students.
आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार और एक बार पुनः हमारे 73rd रिपब्लिक डे पर आप सभी को कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस। मैं सबसे पहले तो मैं जो है हमारे आज के स्पीकर हैं शुभ विलास जी, उनका मैं बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं। और मैं उसके अतिरिक्त जो भी हमारे आज ऑर्गेनाइजर्स हैं, हमारे एनएसएस, उनकी कोऑर्डिनेटर जो हमारे एनएसएस की डॉक्टर माधुरी चावला, हमारे जो भी वॉलंटियर्स, स्टूडेंट्स एज वेल एज हमारे टीचर्स, मैं आप सभी को बहुत बहुत साधुवाद देता हूं कि आपने बहुत ही एक अच्छे टॉपिक के लिए आपने एक बहुत ही समझदार और या जिसको कह सकते हैं कि इस सब्जेक्ट को बहुत गहन तरीके से समझने वाले एक विचारक को, जो कि इस विषय पर लिखते भी हैं और बोलते भी हैं, आपने उनको आमंत्रित किया है। मैं उनका खास तौर से आभारी हूं कि हमारे लिए उन्होंने समय निकाला है। उसके अतिरिक्त मुझे ये कहना है कि ये जो लीडरशिप जो वर्ड है आजकल अपन खास तौर से आम बोलचाल की भाषा में बहुत ज्यादा ये एक तरह से ऐसा मच मलाइंड वर्ड जिसको कह सकते हैं इंग्लिश में, कि काफी लोगों ने इसको एक तरह से लीडर वर्ड सुनते ही हमें ऐसे लगने लगा है कि जैसे ये कोई अच्छा शब्द नहीं है। बट द रियलिटी इज द अदरवाइज। द रियलिटी इज अदरवाइज इन द सेंस दैट फॉर accomplishing the work we need leaders. Leader is always required. And of course, who is a leader? I mean, there have been definitions in management also. We teach these subjects and we say that the leader, one who leads, who leads the followers. But for what? For accomplishing certain tasks. So I mean, of course, Ramayana, it's a great epic, and I think each couplet और चौपाई जिसको हम बोलते हैं, एक एक चौपाई उसकी ऐसी है कि जिसका शायद अर्थ कितने भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार से उसको समझा जा सकता है। साहित्य वाले रामायण को पढ़ते हैं, धर्म वाले रामायण को पढ़ते हैं, आदर्श कैसे हमारे कर्तव्य हों उसके लिए पढ़ते हैं, पिता पुत्र कैसे हों, कैसे भाई के संबंध हो, बहुत सारे मतलब इतने एंगल से रामायण को पढ़ा जाता है। लेकिन यह जो एंगल जो आज श्रीमान शुभ विलास जी हमें समझाने जा रहे हैं, इट इज गोइंग टू बी ए कंप्लीटली न्यू एंगल दैट व्हाट वाज द लीडरशिप लेसन्स व्हिच कैन बी ड्रॉन फ्रॉम रामायण, और वो किस तरीके से हम उसको एमुलेट कर सकते हैं। क्योंकि देखिए, पढ़ना और उसको समझना यह है सिर्फ बहुत ही ज्यादा जो मनीषी लोग हैं उनका ही काम होता है। पढ़ने को हम भी पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन हमें शायद कुछ चौपाइयों के अलावा, और उनका भी एक तरीके का अर्थ हमें आता है, उसके भिन्न भिन्न अर्थ हैं, वो हमें आज इनसे सुनने के लिए मिलेगा। और इससे यदि हमें मान लीजिए कि एक शब्द का भी, मैं इस बात को अपने आप को धन्य मानता हूं कि एक शब्द को भी हमें आज यदि उनसे सुन करके ठीक से अपने जीवन में उतारने का मौका मिला, तो मैं मानता हूं कि हमें इससे बहुत लाभ होने वाला है। मुझे आशा है कि आप सभी इसको बहुत ध्यान से सुनेंगे, और आज का जो जैसा पावन पर्व भी हमारे देश का है, उस मौके पर आपने उनको बुलाया है और उन्होंने हमारे लिए समय निकाला है। मैं आपका भी और हमारे जो आज के स्पीकर हैं उनका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ। आपने समय दिया उसके लिए, और आप सुनेंगे, ठीक से सुनेंगे, और न केवल हम इसको सुनेंगे लेकिन हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम हमारे जीवन में इसको उतारें, क्योंकि लीडरशिप अपने आप में, मैंने जैसा बताया, लीडरशिप कोई मतलब ऐसा कोई माने कि गलत शब्द है, ऐसा नहीं है। ये बहुत अच्छा शब्द है, प्रोवाइडेड वो लीडरशिप पॉजिटिव गोल के लिए हम उसको काम में ले रहे हैं। वो पॉजिटिव लीडर, देखिए मतलब कहीं ना कहीं कई बार ये सुनने में आता है कि जो इलीगल एक्टिविटीज में जो लगे हुए हैं तो उनके भी लीडर होते हैं, बट दैट इज नॉट टू बी our purpose. Our purpose is that towards the welfare as well as towards the well-being of the population, वहां लीडरशिप काम में ली जाती है, उस लीडरशिप के लिए। और उसमें खासतौर से जो रामायण इतना पुराना हमारा एपिक है, उसमें क्या क्या चीजें हम टेक अवे हो सकता है, वो हमें आज मिलेगा। इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत उनको एक बार पुनः धन्यवाद करता हूँ, और आप सभी को ध्यान से इसके सुनने के लिए मैं मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि आप इसको देखिएगा, सावधान से सुनिएगा। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Ms. Jyoti Arora to introduce our guest speaker, Shri Shubha Vilas.
Thank you, Priyanka. Good afternoon, everyone. I deem it my extreme privilege and honor to welcome our guest speaker for the day, Shri Shubha Vilas. Though he needs no introduction, yet I'll make a humble attempt at painting his achievements in bold brushstrokes. He is an engineer by profession, a motivational speaker by passion, and happens to be a best-selling author at the same time. He has authored books that encompass contemporary issues ranging from human relationships to leadership qualities to invoking our ancient scriptures to guide us through the present era. Amongst his masterpieces is his 6-volume series titled Ramayana, The Game of Life, encompassing knowledge from original literatures like Valmiki Ramayana, Kambha Ramayana, and Ramcharitramanas. Some of the title of his books read as Roar with Courage, Conquer Courage, and Adopt Patience, which is from the same series, Ramayana, are the national bestsellers. His latest released book is entitled Stand Strong. Shri Vilas indeed has an eye to view things from a practical perspective, coupled with the scriptural vision, thereby facilitating an integrated sync to apply scriptures to our everyday life. In his journey as a motivational speaker, he has been successfully creating life lessons that lead to self-development roadmaps. Shri Vilas has successfully conducted seminars on the most pertinent contemporary themes such as secrets of lasting relationships, soul curry to stop worry, and work-life balance. He has also been invited to speak at Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Samsung headquarters in USA. He has also spoken to the top nuclear scientists of India at the Defense Research and Development Organization. He also happens to be a TEDx speaker and has spoken at the top B school in India, such as IIM Ranchi, IIM Lucknow, for counseling and guiding students in the areas of leadership, overcoming failures, managing stress, amongst other relevant concerns. His seamless oration is what foregrounds his aura and makes him one of the most sought-after lifestyle coach and an internationally acclaimed or inspiring speaker. We are extremely privileged to have you amongst us, sir. Now, before I request Sir To begin his address, I would request everyone to kindly post your questions in the chat box while the talk is on. Now, I would request Shri Vilas to guide us through the journey of leadership lessons from Ramayana. Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you very much. Very grateful and honored to be amidst all of you all here today. Very grateful to Pawan Sharma ji for introducing the topic and the concept of leadership. Very grateful to Madhuri ji for having invited me here and organizing this event so beautifully, and very grateful to all the students who have so brilliantly and beautifully spoken so far. It's an honor and privilege to be with all of you all today. What you're going to hear in the next 45 minutes or so will completely change your perspective of Ramayana. At the end of today's session, for all those of you all who think you all know Ramayana, at the end of today's session, I can guarantee you, you will think that you don't know the Ramayana at all. And you will be very inspired to want to read the Ramayana. So if that happens, that would be the greatest success of my discussion today. What you're going to learn is going to help you all your life. It is actually going to change your perspective of life also. And of course, your appreciation for the great epics of India. So I'm going to share with you all three aspects of the Ramayana. I'm going to rather present the Ramayana in three different ways. So the first half, I'll begin by sharing how words in the Ramayana have the names of characters of the Ramayana have deep significance in our lives. That's the first thing that I'll be speaking about. Then I'll be speaking about how events in the Ramayana, just picking up one event in the Ramayana, I'm going to show how that event has immediate significance in our lives. And then I'm going to show how the entire Ramayana can be seen as a whole. So after these three things that I'm going to share with you all, you would have really, really learned so much. And you would have, I'm sure, this is something that will really inspire you a lot in your personal journeys of life. Okay? So having said that, I'll begin. Fasten your seatbelts. All of y'all, please keep a paper and pen handy if needed. There is a lot coming your way, and there's a lot that you all want to absorb. Please, try your best to just focus. I know in an online world, it's very difficult to focus. and it's obviously too many distractions and too many attractions all over. But I would highly, highly recommend you all for the next 45 minutes, you can just set aside everything else that you're doing and just sit and focus. You will gain a lot. The Constitution of India, if you look at the way, since we are, celebrating Republic Day today and we're talking about the Constitution of India, Constitution of India was written in a book. And if you look at the original Constitution of India, on the corners, all over the Constitution of India book are paintings from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So that means the Constitution is written based on these scriptures. The foundation of India is based on these scriptures. Unfortunately, we as Indians, most of us don't know how these scriptures are so relevant to us and so pertinent to us in our life. And today probably will be an introduction to all of you all to a lifelong journey of exploring the Ramayana. And if you are inspired by what you hear today, I would highly recommend you all to pick up the Ramayana, the Game of Life series. It's available on Amazon and everywhere else, and read it because it might change a lot of your lives. Okay? So having said that, I'll begin. Let me talk to you all about the names of characters in the Ramayana. Every name of the characters in the Ramayana has some significance in our lives. The word Rama means the one who gives pleasure to others. The word Rama means the one who gives pleasure to others. The word Ravana in the Ramayana means the one who makes others cry. That is the meaning of the word Ravana. And interestingly, you will all find in your own lives, there will be some Rams and there will be some Ravans. There will be some people in your life, the moment you look at them, you feel like smiling. And there will be some people in your life, the moment you look at them, you feel like crying, isn't it? So don't think Ram and Ravan are gone. They're very much there in our life right now. In the Ramayana, we find a personality whose name is Dasharatha. What is the meaning of Dasharatha? There are two meanings to it. Ratha means chariot, and Dasharatha means the one whose chariot can move in 10 directions. So Dasharatha's chariot actually could move in 10 directions. That was one reason his name was Dasharatha. But there's another meaning of the word Dasharatha. The word Dasharatha refers to the body. The Upanishads call the body also as a chariot. And Dasha, the word Dasharatha is referring to the 10 senses. All of us have 10 senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. Dasharatha means the one who has complete control over his 10 senses. That's the meaning of the word Dasharatha. So Dasharatha lives in Ayodhya. Ayodhya, the word Ayodhya comes from the word Yuddha. Yuddha means war, fights, right? Ayuddha means a place where there is no fight. Ayodhya represents the mind, the human mind. Ayodhya represents that place which is peaceful. So someone whose 10 senses are under control and who has a peaceful mind, such a person can give birth to God in his life. Such a person can give birth to Ram in his life. In the same Ramayana, there is another character whose name is Dashanana. Ravan has another name, Dashanana. What is the meaning of the word Dashanana? Dashanana means the one who has 10 heads, right? Ravan has 10 heads. But there's another way to look at the word Dashanana. Dashanana also means the one whose 10 senses are out of control. So Dasharatha means the one whose 10 senses are under control, and Dashanana means the one whose 10 senses are out of control. And Ravan lives in Lanka. And Lanka is a place where nobody sleeps at night. You will say, what is the big deal? Even Delhi, nobody sleeps at night. No different. So, one of the reasons, Mahabharata talks about 6 reasons why people don't get sleep at night. And one of the reasons why people don't get sleep at night is if you've stolen somebody else's property, you won't get sleep at night. If you live a life of stealing, robbing, usurping from somebody else, you won't get sleep at night. The quality of your sleep determines the quality of your consciousness to a great extent. So here we find Dashanana in the Ramayana. So in the Ramayana, there's another character named Vali. Very interesting character. Vali has a very significant power. He has the power, he has the ability to absorb half the strength of his enemy. So if an enemy comes in front of Vali, he can grab half the strength, like a battery bank, So what does Vali represent in our life? Vali represents temptations in life. Suppose, just to give you an example to help you understand what Vali is. Suppose somebody has diabetes. Now, diabetes patients are not supposed to eat sugar, right? Not supposed to eat sweets. Now, if you bring a gulab jamun in front of a diabetes patient, what happens to him? So his ability to say no becomes half, and the gulab jamun becomes double powerful. That's Vali. All of us have something we are tempted about. When we come in front of temptations, our ability to say no becomes half, and that object of temptation becomes double powerful. So every single word in the Ramayana has some relevance in our life directly. So don't think that this Ramayana is like an old story that has no direct connection to our life. I can go on and on speaking only about the names of characters in the Ramayana and how they are related to our lives. Now let me talk to you about one event in the Ramayana and how that event has such a powerful connection in our own lives and the way we look at life. In the Ramayana, we find that there's a particular instance where this is a very powerful lesson on leadership, actually, where in Ayodhya, you find almost everyone perfect, very, very, very pure, very clean, very high-charactered people. And in this particular instance, in this particular story of the Ramayana, you'll find some powerful lessons on depression, on leadership, on dealing with negative energies, and so on and so forth. There are two types of diseases in this world. There are physical diseases and there are mental diseases. So physical diseases, some of them spread very fast and some of them don't. Like we are right now in the middle of a pandemic that spreads fast. It's a physical disease. But not all physical diseases spread fast. Like if somebody has cancer, you sit next to that person, it's not that you're going to get cancer. It doesn't spread like that, you know. But all mental diseases spread fast. What's a mental disease? Criticizing others. It's a mental disease, isn't it? So we sit with someone who is always criticizing, who's always gossiping, making fun of others, or finding faults in others. Very soon you will also become like that. So some physical diseases spread fast and some don't. But all mental diseases spread fast. And therefore, if you are next to a person who has a mental disease, be very careful. It's going to spread to you. In the Ramayana, we find that at one particular point, Kaikeyi, who is the queen of Ayodhya, the wife of Dasharatha, she enters into Kopa Bhavan. In the palaces of the past, there would be rooms for different things. Kopa Bhavan means a sulking chamber. Kopa Bhavan means a place where people go to cry, basically. So in the palaces of the past, there would be rooms for everything. If you want to laugh, you go to one room. You'll feel like laughing automatically, you know. If you want to cry, you go to another room. As soon as you enter the room, you feel like crying. So, should I speak in Hindi?
No, sir, it's good.
No,
Madhuri
sir,
ji?
please carry on. Whatever you are comfortable with.
मैं हिंदी में भी बोल सकता हूँ, इंग्लिश में भी बोल सकता हूँ, या बीच में इंग्लिश में भी बोल सकता हूँ. आप जैसे बताएंगे.
No, sir, it's okay. You carry on.
Perfectly okay, sir.
Okay, good. So, so Kaikeyi enters into Kopa Bhavan, and Dasharatha Maharaj, he comes to know that Kaikeyi has entered Kopa Bhavan. So naturally, if somebody has entered sulking chamber, that means that person is sad, isn't it? So Dasharatha was very confident that he will go and help her. And he enters into the Kopa Bhavan thinking that I will help her come out of it. See, a good leader is somebody who should know when to be confident and when not to be confident. Overconfidence sometimes kills you. So Dasharatha, so if somebody is sick, ideally you should take a doctor along, right? But sometimes people are so overconfident that they just think that I can handle it on my own. Dasharatha goes inside with full confidence that he'll be able to handle Kaikeyi. When he goes and he gets a shock of his life, Kaikeyi is lying on the floor. Her hair are disheveled, her clothes are torn, her jewels are thrown here and there. She's lying on the cold floor. Dasharatha walks up to her and he tries to console her, tries to help her. And Kaikeyi, she bursts out. Dasharatha spends about 15 minutes talking to her, trying to help her. And in a matter of 15 minutes, the roles reverse. In a matter of 15 minutes, Kaikeyi tells some things to Dasharatha that disturbs him so badly. He is so disturbed that he's lying on the floor, completely bewildered and shocked. Kaikeyi is standing and Dasharatha is lying on the floor. 15 minutes before, Dasharatha was standing and Kaikeyi was lying on the floor. In exactly 15 minutes, everything changed. In life, overconfidence costs a lot for leaders. So here is Dasharatha, who thought he can deal with the person in depression, who thought he can deal with the person with a bad attitude. He thought he could deal with the person whose mind is sick. But he was wrong. Now, what has happened is, first, there was only one person in Ayodhya who was sick mentally, and that was a lady named Manthara. Kaikeyi spent 2-3 hours in Manthara. Kaikeyi became sick. And then Dasharatha comes and spends 15 minutes in Manthara with Kaikeyi, and Dasharatha becomes sick now. He is mentally diseased. He's sad, depressed, crying. When a normal person gets diseased, 3-4 family members gets diseased. But when a leader of a country gets diseased, the entire country gets sick. Then by the next day morning, everyone in Ayodhya was crying. Everyone in Ayodhya was frustrated, sad, depressed. And interestingly, when an entire country is in a negative framework of mind, two people walk out of their country. Sita and Ram walked out. God and peace walked out of the country. And in that entire country, there was only one person who was normal, who was all right, who was not affected by the mental disease. And that was the guru of Ayodhya named Vashishta. And Vashishta realized, so he is the doctor, right? So we have so many mental patients, so many people with depression who are disturbed. And Vashishta understands that I have to cure all of them. But Vashishta understands that I can't do it alone. I need help. It is very, very important for leaders to understand when to seek help from others. You may be powerful, but not everything can be done alone. Vashishta called Bharat, who was not in Ayodhya, who was outside. He was in a place known as Kaikai Desh. He called him saying that I need help, come here. So Bharat came to Ayodhya and he saw the entire country is mentally diseased, sick. And Bharat, he said, I can't cure all of them. We need help from Ram to cure all of them. So what did Bharat do? Bharat was not like Dasharatha, overconfident that he can handle all of it. Bharat actually took all the citizens of Ayodhya to Chitrakoot. And one darshan of Ram, one time they saw Ram and all of them felt so mentally relieved. This is one story in the Ramayana. There are thousands of such stories and each story has such deep meaning and such deep relevance in our own lives. Now, I'm going to tell you all the entire Ramayana in a very powerful way and how the entire Ramayana is relevant to our lives. So, in the Ramayana, there are 3 cities. The Ramayana actually happens in 3 cities mainly. The city of Ayodhya, which is way up in the north. The city of Lanka, which is way down in the south. And in between, there is a city known as Kishkinda, the city of the Vanaras, which is in between. It's in Karnataka. So, Ayodhya is in Uttar Pradesh. Lanka is in way below in Sri Lanka. And somewhere in between is Kishkinda. Interestingly, these 3 cities are in a line. And these 3 cities actually represent 3 different mindsets. Ayodhya represents a mindset which is known as Sanskriti, culture. Very high cultured people in Ayodhya. Perfect character. You will find there are no thieves in Ayodhya. And it is explained, Kamba, he explains how Ayodhya is in a negative way. You know what he says? He says in Ayodhya, there are no shops that sell locks. And he says, there are no charitable people in Ayodhya. Nobody gives charity. What do you mean by that? Nowadays you get locks in every shop, right? So if no shop in Ayodhya sold locks means what? It means nobody locked anything. Including the treasury of the king was never locked. Why? Nobody stole anything. There were no thieves there. And there were no charitable people. What does it mean? You don't need to give charity because there are no beggars there. I don't know if you have ever seen a city where there are no beggars at all. There are some places even now in India where there are no beggars. And if you go to Goa, you will not find beggars at all. Literally. And I lived in Goa for almost like 20-25 years. And I hardly found any beggars on the streets. I'm not saying Goa is Ayodhya, by the way. I'm just saying that there are some places even now. But Ayodhya, there was no beggars. So nobody gave charity. So Ayodhya is a place which is Sanskriti, very high cultured. Lanka is exactly opposite of Ayodhya. It is a place which is known as Vikriti. So Sanskriti means culture. Vikriti means vulture. People in Lanka are like vultures. They actually grab, they steal. Nothing in Lanka belongs to Ravan. It's all stolen property. Everything stolen from somebody else. In fact, Ravan stole Lanka from Kubera, from his stepbrother. So Ayodhya is Sanskriti, Lanka is Vikriti. Kishkinda in between is known as Prakriti. What is the meaning of Prakriti? Prakriti means nature. Let me give you an example to explain what is Prakriti. When you're standing in the middle of, standing on the shore of an ocean, is it land or is it ocean? Obviously, when the water comes in, It is water. And when the water goes out, it's land. So you can't say exactly whether you're standing on land or water. You're standing somewhere in between. That's what Prakriti is. It's somewhere in between, So they are not as pure as the Ayodhya Vasis, and they are not as bad as the Lanka Vasis. They're somewhere in between. Much like us, isn't it? Ayodhya, the people of Ayodhya are very grateful people. They have what is known as kritagyata in the heart. They have gratitude in the heart. If you do anything for anybody in Ayodhya, they will be grateful to you for their life. When Sita and Ram were being coronated as a king and queen of Ayodhya, during the coronation ceremony, there was music, dance, colors were being thrown. And at a certain point, Sita started crying. So Ram was wondering, why is she crying in the middle of a happy, joyous occasion? And Ram asks Sita, why are you crying? Sita tells him, somebody just threw a red color powder in the air. And when that red color powder was thrown in the air, Sita remembered Jatayu. When Ravan was kidnapping her, Jatayu came actually to try to prevent Ravan from kidnapping her, try to save Sita. And Ravan cut off the wings of Jatayu. And as Jatayu was falling off, his blood splashed all over the air. So when Sita saw that red color powder being thrown, she remembered the sacrifice of Jatayu. When you are at the peak of your success, what do you remember? Most of the times when we are very, very successful at the peak of our success, we remember no one except ourselves. We're just full of ourselves. But here, in the peak of a success, Sita is remembering to be grateful to someone who has sacrificed his life for trying to save her. He was not even successful. He just tried. And that's what Kritagyata is about. Kritagya. So the people of Ayodhya are Kritagya. The people of Lanka are Kritagna. What does it mean of Kritagna? Kritagna means they don't understand only what gratitude is. Let me tell you a story. When Ravan was worshipping Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva appeared in front of Ravan, and Shiva told him, ask for any boon. Ravan asked for 2 boons. Look at this. Just imagine what Ravan is asking for. The first boon he asks for is the Atma Linga of Lord Shiva. It's a very special type of Shiva Linga. And the second boon Ravan asks for, he tells Shiva, I want your wife Parvati. Now imagine what audacity. This guy is worshipping Shiva and asking him only for his wife. That's the idea of, ingratitude in Lanka. They're not grateful. There's no question of gratitude there. In Kishkinda, the people are known as akritagya. That means it's not that they're not grateful. They just forget to be grateful. If you remind them, they'll become grateful. It's like us, if when we hear about gratitude, 2-3 days we're very grateful people, and then we forget again, So in Kishkinda, when Sugriv was made the king of Kishkinda by Lord Ram, after killing Vali, Sugriv was very, very grateful to Ram for helping him become the king. And then at that point of time, the 4 months of the rainy season began, Chaturmas. So in those days, people wouldn't travel during the rainy season because it was very, very difficult to travel. So Ram told Sugriv that we will begin the search of Sita after 4 months so the rainy season is over. So Sugriv went into his palace and began to enjoy like anything. So Ram was staying outside in a cave out on the outskirts of Kishkinda. And Sugriv was staying inside his palace in Kishkinda. 4 months, Sugriv enjoyed like mad. Every day non-stop party. So outside in the cave, Ram could hear all the, disco drums and all the music going on in Kishkinda and all the fun that Sugriv is having. 4 months. See, when you're enjoying yourself, time passes very fast. But when you're suffering, time passes very slowly. I mean, I know for a lot of people, when they sit for lectures like this, they see time is not passing only. But when they're sitting in a movie, 1 hour passes just like that. You don't come to know only, So it's called Einstein's theory of relativity. Time is very relative in nature, So here, 4 months just passed like this for Sugriv. He didn't even realize 4 months over. But for Ram, those 4 months were like such a big torture. So after 4 months were over, Sugriv is not coming only. His party is continuing over there. So Ram tells Lakshman, can you go and scare this person, Can you go and remind this person that he needs to help us? He has a promise to keep. So Lakshman doesn't understand much, gray stuff. He only understands black and white. He functions in binary, 0 or 1. Either you love somebody or you hate somebody, you know. So he asks, Lakshman asks Ram, should I go and kill him? Ram says, I never told you to kill him. I just told you, go and scare him. That's all. You know. So Lakshman goes and scares Sugriv. And Ram gives Lakshman a very interesting instruction. He says, don't scare him so much that he runs away from me. Scare him that much that he comes running towards me. Fear is a very important factor in life. We need some amount of fear. Fear keeps us disciplined, actually. And fear allows us to function in a particular boundary. So Ram told Lakshman, scare him. But don't scare him so much that he runs away from me. So all of us need a little bit of fear, and that's good for our lives. So Lakshman went and scared him a little bit, and then Sugriv comes running to Ram. And then he becomes grateful. So Sugriv, it's not that he's not ungrateful, he just forgets to be grateful. That's what the people of Kishkinda are. In Ayodhya, brothers never fight, almost never fight. And if fights do happen in Ayodhya, like Ram and Bharat at one point, they fought. And what was the fight about? The fight was not about right and wrong. The fight was about who is right and who is more right. There is no question of wrong in Ayodhya. Ram is telling Bharat that you rule the kingdom. Bharat is saying, no, it's more right that you rule. And Ram is saying, no, it's more right that you rule. They're having a very serious fight, a very serious argument. But the fight is not about right and wrong. The fight is about what is right and what is more right. In Lanka, brothers don't fight also. Ravan and his brothers, no fights. Why? Because all the other brothers keep quiet. The day they open their mouth, they get kicked out of the kingdom straight away. Vibhishan opened his mouth one day, and that was the last day in Lanka. He was thrown out from the kingdom straight away. In Lanka, the discussion is not between right and wrong, because there's no question of right in Lanka. The discussion is always between what is wrong and what is more wrong. One time, in the court of Lanka, there was a discussion going on. One of the ministers is asking Ravan, why are you not doing anything to Sita? So many months Sita is in Lanka. Why are you not molesting her? Look at the discussion. This is the parliament house of the country. And this is the level of discussion that is going on between the minister and the king. Ravan is saying, I want to, but what to do? I have a curse on my head. I can't touch her without her sanction. Now imagine if this is the situation in the courtroom of a parliament house of the country, what kind of discussions are happening? The discussions are between what is wrong and what is more wrong. In Kishkinda, brothers fight. Vali and Sugriv, massive fight going on. And what is the fight about? Right and wrong. Vali is saying, I am right, you are wrong. Sugriv is saying, I am right, you are wrong. So both of them are not able to see the other person's perspective. They are only seeing their own perspective. They are not ready to look at the other person's perspective. Ayodhya, people are perfect. Lanka, people are imperfect. Ayodhya, people are good. Lanka, people are bad. Kishkinda, people are in between. In Kishkinda, there are 3 types of monkeys, 3 types of vanaras. The first type of vanara is Hanumanji-like monkeys. Hanumanji-like vanaras are almost like the Ayodhya-vasis. Perfect in character. Absolutely wonderful. So you will not find Hanumanji doing anything wrong. You will always find perfect, actions from Hanumanji. So in Kishkinda, you'll find one type of Vanara who is like Ayodhya-vasis, right? And in the same Kishkinda, you'll find another type of Vanara Vali, who is almost like Ravan, like the Lanka-vasis. Let me tell you a story of Ravan and Vali, just to help you understand the mindset of Vali. At one particular point in time, Ravan, he came to know about Vali and his power. And Ravan realized, as long as Vali is alive, I can't be the most powerful person in the world. And I need to eliminate Vali. But the problem was, Vali had this ability to absorb half the strength of his enemy, right? So Ravan didn't want to go from the front. He thought, if I go from the front, he will take half my energy. Let me go from behind and kill him. So Ravan came to know that Vali does prayers near the ocean 3 times a day, and he offers prayers in the 4 oceans. So Ravan went when Vali was offering his prayers, his Sandhya Vandanam, and while he was facing the ocean, his back was towards where Ravan was. Ravan came from behind. His idea was very simple. He would catch the tail of Vali, rotate him around and bang him on the ground and kill him. That was his plan. But as soon as Ravan caught the tail of Vali went all around Ravan's body, wound him up tightly, and Vali jumped from one ocean to the other. Imagine Lankeshwar Ravan hanging on the tail of a monkey. Ravan is shouting, "Please leave me, leave me." Vali just doesn't listen. He finishes all his prayers and then releases Ravan. And he asks Ravan, "What do you want?" You know what Ravan tells him? Ravan tells him, "I've come to become your friend. I've come here to be your friend." And Vali and Ravan, that very moment, they actually create a fire. And they take 7 rounds around the fire, taking vows of friendship. And look at their vows, just to give you, this is in the Valmiki Ramayana. Ravan and Vali are taking vows that from today onwards, we both are friends. Whatever belongs to me belongs to you. Whatever belongs to you belongs to me. My wealth is your wealth is my wealth. My kingdom is your kingdom is my kingdom. My wife is your wife is my wife. Imagine, this is the mindset of Vali and Ravan. For all those people who are from the modern era, look at the mindset many thousands of years before. So this Vali Ravan type of mindset is exactly the same. So as I said, in Kishkinda, there are 3 types of Vanaras. The first type is like Hanumanji, whose mindset is almost like the Ayodhya Vasis. The second type is like Vali, whose mindset is almost like the Lanka Vasis. And in between is Sugriv. Sugriv type of mindset is between that of Ayodhya and Lanka. See, Hanumanji is very clear what he wants to do in life. And Vali is very, very clear what he wants to do in life. The problem is these middle guys, Sugriv-like guys. And Sugriv-like people are the confused lot. When Sugriv associates with Hanumanji, he behaves like the Ayodhya Vasis. And when Sugriv associates with Ravan, they behave like the Lanka Vasis. So, isn't that how all of us are? Early in the morning, if you look at any of us, people will say, "Hey, these people are like Ayodhya Vasis only. Wonderful, offering prayers and doing nice things and all that." As the day progresses, slowly, we start becoming badder and badder and badder. And by night time, we are fully demons. Isn't it? Isn't that how our mind works? It changes, right? So the Valmiki Ramayana uses a very interesting word to describe these people in Kishkinda. The word that is used is Vanara. What is the meaning of the word Vanara? Nara means human. And Vanara means, it's a question. Are you human? Every Vanara has to look at himself in the mirror and ask himself, am I human? To the extent I behave like the Ayodhya Vasis, to that extent I'm a human being. To the extent I behave like Lanka Vasis, to that extent I am a monkey. I am a demon, basically. So all of us have to look at the mirror every day and ask ourselves this question, Vanara. It's not enough to just be dressed like human. In fact, Sugriv, he was so confused about who he is. When he went to meet Lord Ram for the first time, the first meeting, you know what Sugriv did? He's changed his appearance. He changed his form to look like a human. And he went and met Ram. You know why? Because Sugriv, like Vanaras, they believe that if we look like human, we are human. But Hanuman never changed his appearance when he went in front of Ram. He preferred to be himself. He preferred to be the way he is because he was not bothered about looks. He was bothered about behavior. He was bothered about character. So all of us, when we study the Ramayana, this is one word that should hit us hard. Every time we look at our own actions, ask ourselves this question, Vanara, am I a human? Not in my looks. I may be looking like a human, but my behavior is completely different from anything human, right? And that's what the word Vanara means. I'm going to tell you all a very interesting concept from the Ramayana. which is one of the last things I'll speak. This is the last story I'll share with you all. But it's a very interesting story from the Ramayana. The story is about Ravan. And the story talks about the mindset of Ravan. It is called the Hns Mindset. You know what is the meaning of HNS? There are a lot of people in this world who are in this HNS category. HNS means hum nahi sudhrenge category. There are a lot of people in this world who belong to this category of hum nahi sudhrenge. And let me tell you this story, which will actually help you understand this mindset. Just before the war, Ram-Ravan war, Ravan goes to Bali Maharaj. Bali is a king from the Sutala Loka. He's different from Vali. This is Bali from the Sutala Loka. So Bali is also a Rakshas. He's also a Daitya like Ravan. So Ravan thinks that Bali belongs to my dynasty. Let me go and ask him for help. So Ravan goes to Bali Maharaj and he says, there are two human beings who come with a group of monkeys and they are troubling me too much. Can you please help me? So Bali asks him, what happened? From when are you scared of human beings and monkeys? You eat monkeys for breakfast. So Ravan says, no, these are like little different type of guys. So Bali says, tell me what happened. Ravan says 3 monkeys came one after another and they troubled me like anything. One monkey came and burned my city. Hanumanji came and burned Lanka, right? After some time, a second monkey comes, Ravan tells. So Ravan was one day standing and looking at himself in the mirror. And suddenly, he starts feeling his head is a little wet. And then he looks on top. He sees the Sugriva has taken a very tiny form and is spitting on his head. Imagine, Sugriva enters Lanka, enters the palace of Ravan and is spitting on the head of Ravan. Somehow Ravan catches Sugriva, but Sugriva escapes from there. So Ravan says, one monkey came and burned my city. Second monkey came and spat on my head and went. And then he says, third monkey came. Just before the war, Ram sent Angad to meet Ravan to give him a last warning. So Angad comes right into the courtroom of Ravan. Ravan is shocked to see Angad because Angad looks very much like Vali. Angad is son of Vali, basically. So Ravan suddenly remembers how Vali defeated him so badly. He's like a little scared. So Ravan, when he sees Angad has come, he asks him, so Angad says, I'm Angad, the son of Vali. Ravan asks him, how is my friend? Vali, how is he? Angad says, your friend is dead. Ram killed him with one arrow. So Ravan is shocked. He's not able to believe that anybody can die with one arrow. Nowadays in Bollywood movies, after 5-6 bullets also heroes don't. And this is, such a powerful Vali died with one arrow. So Ravan is saying, I can't believe. Angad says, whether you believe or no, he's dead. And if you don't return back Sita to Ram, you'll also die like that. So Ravan is just, obviously, he's in the HNS category, right? So he's not going to listen. So Angad says, let me show you a demonstration of Ram's power. Angad puts his feet on the ground. And he tells Ravan, if you are powerful, lift my feet from the ground and show. Ravan says, I don't lift monkey's feet. He sends his son Indrajit. He says, throw this fellow out. So Indrajit goes and tries to pick up Angad's feet. Now, Indrajit is powerful. He has defeated Indra. He's such a powerful guy. He's not able to pick up Angad's feet. Ravan himself comes and he tries to pick Angad's feet. Nothing. How much ever he tries, he's not able to budge it by an inch. Ravan has lifted Kailash mountain, but this guy is not able to lift the feet of one monkey. Angad says, let me make it simple for you. He says, I'll only put one toe of my feet on the floor. You lift this one toe and show me. Angad puts just one toe of his feet on the floor and Ravan tries his best to lift. He's not able to lift. And then Ravan removes his 20 hands. With 20 hands, he tries to lift the feet of Angad. He's not able to do. Ravan is shocked. He asks Angad, what do you drink? Complan B, Bonvita. Where do you get so much power from? Angad tells him, I just chanted the name of Ram and held my breath. And because the name of Ram is inside me, I became so powerful that you're not able to lift my feet. Angad tells him, the name of Ram is so powerful, imagine how powerful Ram is. Tells him, return back Sita. And Ravan says, no. So Ravan is telling these 3 stories to Bali. Says, one monkey came and spat on my head, burned my city. One monkey spat on my head. And a third monkey, I could not lift his feet also. Bali Maharaj tells him, don't you think you should just return back Sita? Don't you think it's too much? If only 3 monkeys have troubled you so much, there are millions of them more. Ravan says, see, I didn't come to you for advice. I came to you for help. If you want to help me now. Bali understands this guy is not going to understand like this. He takes him to his garden. He tells Ravan, come with me to the garden. He takes him to the garden. And in the garden, there is this massive mountain made of pure gold. So when Ravan sees gold, something goes wrong. And he runs to the mountain and he wants to carry the whole mountain. He says, yeah, this is what I come to you for. I can get help from you in this way. So Bali says, if you can pick up the mountain, take it home. Ravan is not able to lift the mountain. It's too heavy for him. So Ravan asks him, what is this so big? Bali Maharaj says, come with me. He takes him very far from the terrace of his building, shows him what that mountain is. It is not a mountain. It's a earring. One big earring. So Ravan is shocked. He says, whose earring is this? Such a massive earring. Bali says, this earring belongs to Hiranyaksha. In the previous yuga, in the previous incarnation where Hiranyaksha had a fight with Varaha, Varaha gave him one slap under his kaan ke niche bajaya, And when he slapped him so tightly, this earring fell over here in Sutarloka. And from that time, this earring has been here only. And Bali says, interestingly, you were Hiranyaksha in your previous life. And this is your earring. And in this life, your strength has decreased so much.
Madhura, please.
Akash, Ranjanji. So, extra entertainment. So, what are you saying? So, Bali Maharaj tells Ravan that this was your earring in your previous life. And now your strength has decreased so much, you're not even able to pick it up. But Ram's strength is exactly the same. The same Varaha has come now as Ram. So he says, better return back Sita. And Ravan says, no. And that is why Ravan belongs to this category known as HNS, Hum Nahi Sudharenge category. There are different types of human beings in this world. There are some people who just don't get it. There are 4 types of intelligences. The first class intelligence is you hear once and you understand it. Like say if somebody tells you smoking is injurious to health, you just hear it once, that's it. You don't smoke. That's first class intelligence. The second class intelligence is people think they have to observe somebody suffering. You see someone suffering from cancer, from lung diseases, then you say, no, I should not smoke. Stop smoking. That is second class intelligence, by observing. Third class intelligence is they don't understand by hearing. They don't understand by observing also. They would experience it themselves. So they smoke and they get some disease and then say, no, now I won't smoke anymore. But there's a fourth class intelligence. Fourth class intelligence doesn't understand by hearing. They don't understand by observing. They don't understand by their own experience also. After they get some disease, they will say, now onwards, I will smoke electronic cigarette. After experience also, they don't understand. This is known as fourth class intelligence, right? So this is what is known as the HNS category. So Ravan, he belongs to this special category of people. Of course, many of us can avoid going there if we just learn to listen to advice of wise people, learn to be not so adamant and so arrogant that we think that we know everything. Just learn to listen from people who are more experienced than us and more wiser than us to guide us. Ramayana has unlimited wisdom like this. What I told you all probably is like a small drop in the Ramayana. And every page of the Ramayana has unlimited wisdom and unlimited stories and unlimited understanding of life and lessons on leadership for all of us. If you just pay a little more attention to the wisdom in the Ramayana, don't just consider it as a story. The Ramayana and Mahabharata are like Ganga and Yamuna flowing, Ganga and Yamuna are flowing for thousands of years now. And in Prayag, there is a combination of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, right? If you actually go to Prayag, you will not find Saraswati river at all. You can see Ganga very clearly, greenish in color. You can see Yamuna very clearly, blackish in color. But where is Saraswati? You can't see the Saraswati river at all, So Saraswati is known as Gupta Nadi. Gupta Nadi means hidden river. Saraswati can be seen through not your eyes physically, but it has to be seen through your faith. Similarly, The Ramayana and Mahabharata, the stories are flowing in India for thousands of years now. But the Saraswati, which means the wisdom which is within the stories, is hidden. Not easy to perceive, not easy to understand. You can understand the story easily. Ramayana and Mahabharata stories are very easy to understand. But the wisdom within it is not so easy to understand. And that Saraswati, the hidden Saraswati, is what makes the Ramayana and Mahabharata so wonderful and so great. So in my little humble effort, what I have been trying to do is distill the wisdom of Saraswati from the Ramayana and Mahabharata and present it to the modern world, especially to youngsters like all of you all. I've been trying to write the Ramayana and the Mahabharata in a way that is very, very practical and very easy to digest and understand, in a way that is written almost like a novel, very exciting, fast-paced novel, written in a very beautiful language, but with a lot of life lessons that you can apply in your personal lives and derive great benefit from. Thank you very much. I'll stop here. We can take some discussions and questions if there are any. Thank you. I hope all of you all absorbed whatever I said and have learned so much from it. And I hope this has kindled your desire to understand and dive deeper into the Ramayana much, much more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening talk. And I'm sure our audience would have enjoyed this thought-provoking and engaging session. Ramayana is a text that we are all familiar with, but thank you for offering such a fresh perspective on the text, on such an old historical text, and for deliberating a new kind of discourse around it. And most remarkably, you have bridged the gap between the centuries-old theories of Ramayana and the present millennial generation, teaching them in the process how to integrate these learnings into their day-to-day lives. So thank you so very much. And listening to you has also sparked, I'm sure, the interest of many of our participants and students who are here with us today. So they have also shared a lot of questions are pouring in. They have shared a lot of questions and insights in the chat box. So I would be happy to assist you with them if you're willing to respond to it, sir.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, sir. So I'll read out the questions one by one and we can take it one by one and you can answer it. I'll just quickly go to the first question. Yes, so Gagan Kohli has asked, what are your views on Ram choosing exile over kingdom responsibilities?
Okay. So my understanding is like this. When Dasharatha, the king of Ayodhya, that present king of Ayodhya, requested Ram to go on exile, obviously inspired by his wife Kaikeyi, Dasharatha pushed it, obviously. And Ram had two choices now. One was do what the king has told. Second was fight it and say, no, I won't go because this is wrong. He could have fought it. He could have created a civil war there. He could have potentially created a lot of chaos over there. But Ram didn't do that. You know why? For a very simple reason. Ram believed that before he became a good leader, he has to show people what it means to be a good follower. So 14 years, Ram showed Ayodhya what it means to be a good follower. And then after 14 years, when he came back, then people now had a good example what it means to be a good follower. When the king says, go to exile, he just walked out for 14 years. And that's what a great follower is. And that's why every great leader has to first be a great follower. And then they can be great leaders.
These days, this is known as doing leading by example. आप अपने example दीजिए.
Absolutely. Correct.
Actually, this is the leadership theory which we teach. And this is, it's a kind of that you yourself give that example first. That you are doing like that only.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Pawanji.
Thank you, sir. I'll move to
one more thing which I wanted to share actually, the description, the discussion which you started with the word Ram. The word Ram, as you have spoken about, I have written that word, and I have been to Bhutan for some time. Bhutan has a sizable population of Nepalese Hindus. They are Bhutanese, but they are otherwise they are Hindus, and they follow our traditions. And there the word when they have to call somebody, when they have to ask somebody that are you okay, when they have to ask somebody that are you okay, and they ask राम रोई छे, मतलब वहां 6 वर्ड एक लगाते हैं वो कि आप ठीक हो, तो उसके लिए बोलते ही वो ये हैं कि राम रोई छे, तो वो वहां से शब्द उन्होंने लिया, वहीं से वो शब्द। तो राम के मतलब यही है कि अच्छे होने से राम का मतलब है।
Right. Beautiful. Thank you.
वो भी है।
Thank you, Principal Sir, and thank you, sir, for answering the first question. We now move on to the second question, which is related to the first. Pramod Singh has asked, what modes of leadership did Lord Ram adopt, and how can we change our thoughts into actions?
In my understanding of Lord Ram's style of leadership, this is there are many things that I can talk about, but I'll tell you something very interesting that will help you understand why Ram is a great leader, and what is it in Ram that the citizens of Ayodhya found. In fact, Dasharatha asked the citizens of Ayodhya, why do you want Ram to be the king? Why do you love Ram so much? And the citizens of Ayodhya speak about what is it in Ram that they like. They prominently talk about 3 things that really is powerful in Ram. The first thing they talk about is talent. They talk about Ram's talent. They talk about so many aspects of Ram's talent. Like, for example, they say Ram is an amazing orator. When he speaks, he's not just speaking words, it's like pearls of nectar coming. And his knowledge is not just theoretical, but it is very practical and very relevant to life. They speak about Ram's singing abilities. They speak about Ram's managerial, administrative abilities, and so on and so forth. Talent will bring you to the bridge of success. But talent doesn't help you cross the bridge of success. The citizens of Ayodhya say the second thing that is there in Ram that really makes him so powerful as a leader is his good attitude. And they give so many amazing examples of Ram's attitude. You know what they say? One of the things they say is that when someone is standing and Ram is there, Ram always makes the first move to talk to a person. Usually leaders, very powerful people, they don't make the first move. They don't go and talk to others. They expect that somebody comes and talks to them because they have such a big ego they carry, right? But Ram actually initiates discussions. He goes out of his way to talk to people. And the citizens of Ayodhya are so touched by that. And then the citizens of Ayodhya say that Ram is such an amazing person that he comes and spends time with our family when we go through joys and sorrows. They say when we are sad, Ram comes and he's crying more than our family members. And they say when we are happy, Ram comes and he's more happier than our family members. They don't say Ram comes and solves our problems. They say Ram comes and cries with us. Isn't that so amazing for a leader just to spend time empathizing and understanding what people are going through? So the first thing that citizens of Ayodhya talk about is Ram's talent. So talent helps you reach the bridge of success. Good attitude helps you cross the bridge of success. Crossover. And the third thing that the citizens of Ayodhya speak about is character. Character helps you retain success. And they speak about Ram's character being so immaculate. And of the many things they talk about Ram's character, they talk about how, so usually an elephant has 2 sets of teeth. One teeth to show others, show the world, and one teeth to actually bite. So the tusk of the elephant is not really of much use in that sense for biting. So similarly, a lot of people in this world have 2 sets of values. One is for others and one is for themselves. So they're not like absolutely transparent in their value systems. They expect others to behave very well in this way, and they make a lot of exceptions for themselves. The citizens of Ayodhya speak about Ram's character. So these 3 things they consider, because of which they feel that Ram is the best leader possible. So these are one of the aspects of Ram's leadership thoughts.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is by Ankit Aman. He's asking, how does Ramayana focus on different human relationships or different relationships which are implored by humans? How does Ramayana focus on them?
Thank you for the question. Ramayana has such a ocean of wisdom of relationship lessons that you can draw. I'm going to just speak one such thing, which will help you understand the depth of the Ramayana. This is going to be a short story that I'm going to share, but it's an amazing story. You will love this story. When the golden deer comes into the Ramayana, this Marich who comes disguised as a golden deer, Sita tells Ram, I want this deer. So Ram tells Lakshman, you take care of Sita, you stay here, I'm going to get the golden deer, I'll come back. So Ram runs behind the golden deer. At some point, Ram understands it's not a deer, it's a demon named Marich. Ram shoots an arrow and kills Marich. While Marich is dying, the last moment, he shouts out in the voice of Ram, he calls the name of Sita and Lakshman. So Sita and Lakshman hear the voice of Ram calling out for help. So Sita tells Lakshman, go and help your brother. Lakshman tells her, no, don't worry, my brother cannot be in any kind of problem. Ram, he's perfect. So Sita, she's not able to understand because Sita feels very worried. She feels very, very concerned for Ram. So she tells Ram, she tells Lakshman, go and help. Lakshman just doesn't go. And then Sita speaks something that really hurts Lakshman. So, there's a conflict here at this point. Lakshman is confident about Ram and Sita is concerned about Ram. Both of them love Ram. There's no doubt about that. But one is concerned about Ram and one is confident about Ram. And when there's a conflict of two different ways of looking at the same problem, then fights happen in relationships. Sita speaks something so harsh. She tells Lakshman, I know why you're here in the forest with us. This story happens after 13 years of their exile. For 13 long years, Lakshman has been serving Sita and Ram menially. For 13 long years, Lakshman has not slept one night. When I'm saying he has not slept one night, doesn't mean you're sleeping all day. You're not doing like a call center job, All night he was guarding them and all day he was, serving them. And after 13 long years, Sita tells Lakshman, I know why you're here in the forest with us. You've been waiting for a chance that Ram goes away so that you can enjoy me. Imagine she doubts his character. And Lakshman gets so hurt. He tells her, I'm going away from here, but I know for sure when I come back, you won't be here. Lakshman goes. And then he meets Ram on the way. When he meets Ram on the way, Ram asks him, why are you here? I told you to guard Sita. And, and then they've come back and see Sita is missing. Ram starts blasting Lakshman like anything. He says, you're a useless person. The only thing I told you to do, you didn't do. Literally blasted him. Imagine if anybody else was in Lakshman's place, what they would have done. They would have said, hell with both of you all, I'm going back to Ayodhya. They would have packed their bags and gone back, isn't it? But Lakshman doesn't do that. He stays on. This is a secret of relationship in the Ramayana. What makes Lakshman stay on after being abused by two people that he loved the most? See, insult. When somebody who is a stranger insults you, it doesn't make so much of a difference. But somebody whom you love, if that person insults you, if that person speaks harshly to you, it shatters the heart. So this is a very powerful lesson you can learn from Lakshman. If you learn this one thing that I'm going to share with you all right now, you would have learned the most powerful lesson on relationships. What made Lakshman not retaliate that day? Lakshman did something which I called as pressing the pause button. When Sita spoke those words, Lakshman pressed the pause button. And he asked himself a question. The question that he asked himself is, does Sita mean what she spoke? And the answer that he got from within was no. Her concern for Ram is coming out in the form of these words. And when Ram spoke those words, again he pressed the pause button and he asked himself the same question. Does Ram mean what he spoke? And the answer that he got was no. His concern for Sita is coming out in the form of these words. And then So now the question is, if when all of us are in such a situation of life, do you think you have the ability to press the pause button and all that? Usually when we are in such a situation of life, forget the pause button. We don't know where the remote control is only. We just remove our sword and start slashing that person, right? What made Lakshman press the pause button? Lakshman was an angry young man, by the way. If you study the Ramayana, he would get angry at the drop of the hat. Such an angry man, in such situation, how he didn't get angry? What was that one thought that Lakshman had which helped him press the pause button and deal with it in the right way? The answer is, Lakshman had one thought of gratitude. Lakshman was thinking, Sita's deposited 25 years in this relationship. And after 25 years, she has made one mistake. Should I forget to be grateful for the 25 years of love that Sita has showered on me and focus on this one mistake? And then when Ram spoke those words, again he had this one thought of gratitude. 40 years Ram has deposited love in this relationship. Should I forget the 40 years of love that he has given and focus on this one hurt that he has caused? This one thought of gratitude helped Lakshman press the pause button. And I think this is one of the most powerful things that we all can learn from Ramayana on relationships. Of course, there are millions of other stories more, but this I thought should be good to share with you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving on to the next question, Nikita is asking, how can we be kind and handle difficult situations like Lord Ram did?
Let me tell you a very simple, fact from the Ramayana that will help you get the answer to your question. Okay, when Kaikeyi told Ram that he has to go on exile for 14 years, the moment he was given this bad news, see, handling bad news is not easy, isn't it? When somebody tells us something that we don't want to hear, somebody gives us a news that is very difficult for us to digest, we just can't handle it. So Kaikeyi, when she spoke these words to Ram said something amazing. You know what he told her? Rather than getting angry, rather than getting sad, rather than getting depressed, rather than getting frustrated, Ram told her, thank you. I've been waiting for such an opportunity. He tells her that I've always wanted to go to the forest and learn from the sages. These 14 years are not 14 years of exile. They're 14 years of learning for me. I'm going to go to the forest, upgrade myself for 14 years. So Ram considered it like that. Just to help us understand this better, when an eagle is attacked by crows, sometimes crows attack eagles. I mean, what are the size of the crows and what are the size of the eagle? The eagle is so massive and crows are so small. One slap, the crow will die, right? So these group of crows, 5-6 crows go and attack the eagle together. You know what the eagle does? The eagle never fights against the crows. You know what the eagle does? Eagle just flies higher. The eagle flies so high that the crows can't reach him only. The eagle doesn't waste time fighting with the crows. So similarly, when we go through negative situations in our life, when we go through when somebody is trying to push us down, somebody is trying to insult us, when somebody is trying to hurl abuses at us, it's not necessarily that you have to get into the negative situation and try to solve it and all that. Just learn to rise higher. Just learn to look at life from a higher perspective. And that's what Ram does. And that is what we can learn from Ram. Okay. I can see many questions on the banishment of Sita episode. I'm just going to drop a link right now on the chat. This is my answer to that question. Here it's a podcast that I have spoken where I give 12 reasons how we can understand the banishment of Sita episode from the Ramayana. All the students who are excited to learn and understand it in the true spirit, please hear this. This is a 30-minute podcast, and it will really help you understand the same episode seen from many angles. So I've looked at it from 12 different angles, and it will give you sufficient logic, sufficient reasoning, and sufficient depth of knowledge to understand that episode from various angles. So please spend some time and pick up this link and hear the episode at your convenient time. It's going to take at least a half an hour, so I said let me not get into it here, but I dropped the link for your benefit. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Do we have time for a few more questions? We have a
Yeah.
lot of questions.
We can take one or two more questions. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take two more. So the next question is, in Ramayana, Urmila's contribution is often forgotten. We are all aware about the hardships that Sita Mata went through, but not about Urmila's struggle. However, in the series Ramayana, The Game of Life, you gave her character an important position as well. What can we learn from her character?
Kushiji, I'm happy that you have read the Ramayana series. That's wonderful. So here is my understanding of Urmila's character. There are some people who don't speak much, but by not speaking, they actually speak a lot. There are some people that have to speak a lot to make an impact. There are some people who don't have to speak at all to make an impact. Urmila, in my understanding, plays that character that makes such a powerful impact in the Ramayana by not speaking at all. Her role comes in Ayodhya Kanda, the Ramayana, where Lakshman, when he's leaving Ayodhya, before he leaves Ayodhya, he goes to meet his mother, Sumitra, and his wife, Urmila, to seek permission, to tell them. And when Lakshman is going to them, he expects a lot of opposition. He expects them to oppose his going. But it's amazing how Urmila and Sumitra, they play such a crucial and critical role in the Ramayana by understanding the mood of Lakshman. What was the mood of Lakshman? Lakshman lived a life of service. In fact, he was born to serve Ram, and he loved to serve Ram. There are many great leaders in this world, but every great leader needs a great follower, isn't it? Nobody has been able to do great things without good followers. In fact, if you look at society, if you look at the way our own modern society functions, so many great leaders have had able assistants. Like if you look at Martin Luther King, such a powerful leader, created such a massive revolution, but he had an assistant named Andrew Young, and this guy was silent. He's not there anywhere in the forefront. But without Andrew Young to assist him, Martin Luther King wouldn't have achieved what he achieved. So similarly, in the Ramayana, we find Ram achieving so much, such a powerful person. But Ram without Lakshman, he wouldn't have achieved as much as he would have achieved with Lakshman. That is so. When Urmila realized that Lakshman is playing a crucial role, which is for the well-being of society, she realized something very important. And this is what my understanding of Urmila's contribution is, and to a great extent, all of them. Leadership means responsibility. Responsibility means sacrifice. And sacrifice means tears. In a country where leaders are crying, followers are happy. And in a country where followers are crying, leaders are happy. So Ramayana is a book of responsibility. It's a book of leadership. It's a book of sacrifice. There are many great people in the Ramayana who have made significant sacrifices in their life to bring out the idea of responsibility and to bring forth what great leadership really means. So Urmila has that great role of understanding the mood of her husband and playing an able assistant to her husband achieving what he wanted to achieve in the service of society and service of Lord Ram. Obviously, it's for the greater benefit of the world. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving on, this will be the last question for the lack of time. This is by Srishti Singhal. She's asking, can you please differentiate the leadership qualities of Ram and Ravan?
I think I spoke quite a lot on the difference between the leadership qualities of Ram and Ravan. In a sense, Ram's leadership style. Okay, let me tell you something very interesting. Simple. I'll just put it in the form of a simple story. During the Ram-Ravan war, at a particular point, Ravan was injured very badly. He was really badly injured. And he fell unconscious on his chariot. And his chariot driver took him off from the battlefield and took him to a very far location, and he nursed him back to health, basically. The moment Ravan got his consciousness, he started blasting his chariot driver, blasting him. He said, "You stupid fellow, how dare you get me out of the battlefield? You think I'm a coward?" Blasted him like anything before even understanding what had happened there. And the chariot driver, he gets angry at Ravan. He tells him, first of all, do you know what is happening over there? When you fell unconscious, the monkeys are jumping on the chariot. They're trying to drag your body out of the chariot. Imagine if Ravan had been taken off the chariot. It would have been so embarrassing for him. And then finally, when Ravan understood what actually happened, he realized the chariot driver did the right thing. And he said sorry. He didn't say, actually, Ravan didn't even say sorry. He just said, let's go for the fight. Now, I'm going to tell you another story of how Ram dealt with his driver. Ram was given a chariot by Indra. And the chariot had a driver named Matali. So when Ram got on the chariot and the fight resumed with Ravan, Ram instructs Matali, tells him, my dear Matali, please take the chariot towards Ravan. And as a caution, he tells him, when you're driving, drive fast, but be very careful. And immediately after that, Ram changes his tone. And he tells Matali, I'm sorry I'm instructing you. I know that you're very capable. And I know you will do the best you can. And I'm sorry that I gave you an instruction which I shouldn't have given. This is the difference between Rama and Ravan's leadership style. In essence, I'll tell you a second thing that will help you understand the difference between Rama and Ravan's leadership style. When any demon, any of the Rakshasas would die in Ravan's army, Ravan had a policy that any person who dies, their body would be thrown into the ocean immediately. Why Ravan had this as a policy? Because he didn't want the enemies to have a count of how many people died in the enemy camp. He didn't want the Vanaras to know. So anytime a Rakshasa would die, they would throw their body straight into the ocean so that they would be like, no count. But Ram had told the Vanaras that any Vanara hero who dies, their body should be preserved and we will cremate them nicely later on. And the bodies are all preserved. So when Hanumanji went to the north and from Dronachal, he got the Sanjeevani mountain, the herbs. When the mountain was brought, Lakshman was revived. But interestingly, all the dead monkeys got back life. But all the dead Rakshasas couldn't get back life because they were inside the ocean. And they didn't get the benefit of the Sanjeevani mountain. Again, this shows. See, it is easy to respect a person when a person is alive. But when a person is dead, if you still respect him, that shows your leadership. That shows your leadership quality. It's easy to respect a person when you're in front of the person. But when the person is not there, what kind of respect you show, that shows your value system. That shows the amount you respect that person. I think this is good enough to answer your question on the style of Ravan and Ram in leadership.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions so patiently. And we are all indebted to you for sharing your insights and your perspectives with all of us. I'm sure our students have much food for thought at the end of this session today. So before we move ahead, I would like to make an announcement, which I'm sure will be of interest to many of our students here. So the Advaita Society Hansraj College, University of Delhi, in collaboration with the ISKCON Youth Forum Delhi, is organizing a 40-hour certificate course spanning over 6 weeks on Gitamritam, a lifestyle management course in Bhagavad Gita, beginning on 1st February 2022. Those of you who are interested may register for it. The course is open to all students of Delhi University. Now we have a short video to help you better understand this course, followed by which we will be sharing the poster for the course with the contact details for registration. I would like to request Khushi to please play the video for our participants.
Ma'am, just 1 second before that.
Yes, sir.
Can I take leave, please? I have another session coming up. Is that okay?
So maybe we can just take a screenshot with the cameras on, and then sir probably can leave.
Right. Okay. I would request everyone to turn on their cameras, and Khushi, if you could please take the screenshot.
Sure, ma'am.
Is it done, Khushi?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Very, very grateful to be with all of you all. It's an honor and pleasure to serve
Thank you,
all.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a
It
lot.
was amazing. It was a pleasure listening to you, and we have all of us taken back so much from your session. Would love to have you again and hear you at length.
Absolutely. My pleasure and honor to be with you all. And I'll definitely be happy to serve any other way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hushi, if you could play the video for our students here who would be interested to join the course.
And we can share the poster and the link on the chat, Madhura.
Yes, ma'am. Krushi is also going to display the poster because the chat box does not allow attachments.
Okay,
So
all
those
right.
of them can take screenshot of the poster and they can get in touch.
Is distraction your addiction? Is social media consuming your whole day and you feel guilty of not being productive and you have wasted your whole day just doing nothing on social media? You really want to avoid it, you really want to get rid of it, but every single time you fail. All your goals and ambitions seems to be faded away and you are not able to do a comeback in your life. Then let me tell you that you are on the right place because we monks are presenting in front of all of you a 18 days Bhagavad Gita course. This is the largest online Bhagavad Gita marathon course where we will present you the crucial steps to make your student life a successful life and live a life distraction free. And who can teach you this better than a monk? So click on the link below and register yourself for the largest online Bhagavad Gita marathon. I'll see you here on the other side.
Everyone in the meeting and on YouTube can get the contact details or take a screenshot of the poster.
Now I request Dr. Pratibiswas to propose a vote of thanks.
Well, our main speaker has already left us, but I think I would love to, I think all of us, students and teachers alike, really, really enjoyed the talk. And I was planning to, begin with two quotations from Shubha Vilas ji. And I'm quoting, I would like to begin with a couple of quotes. And here, one, gratitude is the sweetest thing in a seeker's life, in all human life. If there is gratitude in your heart, then there will be tremendous sweetness in your eyes. Responsibility appears like a cage, but it sets the bird of self-growth free. I think now that we have attended the session, both the quotations fall into place. Honorable Shubha Vilas ji, respected Principal Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma, dear teachers, guests, and students, I deem it a great privilege to have been asked to extend a vote of thanks on this occasion where the NSS unit of the college has organized such an insightful, thought-provoking, practical, and a purpose-driven lecture on the 73rd Republic Day. And Shri Shubha Vilas ji, our guest today, has so graciously delivered his lecture on the important topic of learning leadership lessons from the Ramayana. We thank him that in spite of his extremely busy schedule, he took out time for us. It's a reflection of his commitment toward the youth of the nation. We've all been very inspired by his presentation. On behalf of the Alsing Evening College NSS unit, our teachers, fraternity, and on behalf of my own behalf, I extend our gratitude to Shubha Vilas ji for gracing the function and sharing with us his vision of our ancient epic for our youth and gleaning from the Ramayana leadership lessons, marking its continued relevance in modern life. I would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks to our principal, Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma, for the unstinted support and guidance he has extended to all of us at the NSS unit of the college. We are extremely thankful to Dr. Madhuri Chawla, NSS Program Officer, for her vision and guidance in organization of this event. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for the NSS team members for the excellent management of this event. An event like this does not happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires meticulous planning and an eye for details. We are fortunate to have a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues and students. I thank everyone for their willingness to undertake their responsibilities for making this event a grand success. Thank you all. And since it is a virtual, I cannot invite you to our, statutory tea and pakoras. So that I think we'll have to manage on our own. But I really am taking back a lot from this session personally and also as a teacher. I think most of us teachers here can use many of the lessons he has taught us in our pedagogy.
Exactly, right, absolutely.
So I think,
thank you so much, all the colleagues and students, and of course, Team NSS for making this.
I think it was a really, good way of spending.
Yes, very interesting, very enriching, and
Republic Day.
Yes,
freedom in its true sense. Freedom
and it makes
from
us look at the
anxieties within.
Epic from a new perspective now, and maybe also inspires us to read
that,
it.
We look at the epic
with a fresh perspective.
Feminists look at it from one angle, others look at it from another angle, but a holistic approach. I like the way he deconstructed the names, and the way it is basically Ramayana is all about us. The battle is inside and the war is inside. So, be it Ram, be it Ravan, and be it the Vanar Sena. Everything is inside us. So, I think like all
of them put together. So we have to choose.
We have to choose who,
and that's what decides our destiny, perhaps. Yes.
Who do we want to be? Or we can choose to be Hanuman. We can choose to be Lakshman. So it is your choice.
But yes, he did bring forth points like Lakshman was very, he was short-tempered.
Yes,
and yet I failed to register that he didn't get angry when
Sita calls him.
Yeah, it never registered.
He just goes after.
It never registered earlier. You have to look at things more closely, minutely, and
for our library also.
Yes.
That's one thing.
Good way to celebrate the Republic Day.
Yeah. So I think all of us enjoyed it, and thank you.
Maybe we can invite him over for more sessions.
I was saying the same thing.
Yes.
That one session was not enough. Maybe session, we can call him for a few more sessions.
Ma'am, we can collaborate with TEDx and invite him.
Yes, we can do that also.
I think we should do that.
Can we do that? Archana would be able to tell us better. Archana,
I think because they have, yes.
There have been couple of TED Talks in Dayal Singh, ma'am.
So we can do it. We'll talk to Archana. I think Archana has left the meeting now, but we can talk to her and collaborate, and maybe sometime in February or March.
Students were there on YouTube. Khushi, any idea?
Yes, ma'am. It will be saved on YouTube. It was streaming live.
I know, but how many were there on YouTube?
I'll check, ma'am. There were members. There were members on YouTube also.
There were quite a few,
How
yes.
many students joined in on YouTube? That was what I was wanting to know, the number of students. Here we were almost full. We reached 100. At one point of time, we were full 100.
Here we were 100, and on YouTube, I think there were 50 odd viewers.
Great.
One time when
Congratulations, Madhuri. And team.
Congratulations to the entire team and to the audience who joined actually. So it is all thanks to them that it became a success. And I think it was interesting.
It was very interesting.
Yes.
In fact, it was so relevant. You know, the contemporaneity of the lessons learned.
I think my mother had joined on YouTube and she was calling up. Probably she wanted to ask some question. I